This conference will now be recorded.
The number of tables, the space allocation for the CMS experience center, the station. So we got allocated, it says CXL demo in the small thing here. This essentially gives you the layout of how the experience center stations are actually organized. So this will be the CMS station. Ignore the CXL demo part. So there are essentially 4 different tables. I was told that, the maximum that we can allocate is really 4 tables, and apparently there is an option to maybe get 2, coffee tables, kind of small ones, but they're not really, unlikely they are meant for servers, server demos. Each table essentially can host up to 2 server demos. That just gives you roughly an idea of the demo constraints that we have. So essentially we can host up to 8 demos. That's the constraint that we need to work towards and see if there is an opportunity for us to consolidate, maybe a bunch of demos. I already saw a couple of suggestions in the email. We do have 2 10-minute talks, lightning talks allocated for CMS section. We'll figure out the lightning talk, whether we want to do 1 20-minute. It is Wednesday and Thursday, one of those 2. Maximum is 20 minutes. We can split that into 2 10-minute talks, or we can have 1 20-minute talk. But once we finalize the demos, we can figure out maybe we can have 2 types of lightning talks that actually cover maybe 2 different aspects of the CMS. But we can decide that later. That's not really critical at this point. The deadline that we have in front of us, basically by Thursday, we do need to finalize the layout for the CMS station. Then need to give the number of tables, the power requirements, and OCP will provide monitors, but they are essentially saying they don't have a whole lot of monitors. 5 may be feasible, but beyond 5, it may be difficult to accommodate. Every other piece of equipment is actually owned by the demo owner, right? OCP is not going to provide anything beyond that. So they are suggesting probably max of 5 monitors. So we probably need to work through that constraint. If you have an option to bring in your own monitor, that's ideal. And then they also want the logos. Once we finalize the demos and the companies that are actually on the demos, we may have to group, into maybe 4 different sections so that we have a clearer message as well as the signage, accordingly. I haven't actually thought about it, but if you have feedback, please do send it to me and Manoj, so we can actually accommodate that grouping part. It could be as simple as memory buffer demos in one, switching demos in the other one, maybe solution-centric demos in the third one. It could be that, right? Form factor demos as the 4th one, just to give you an idea, right? So those are the things I need to essentially finalize and provide that back to OCP Foundation team. Any questions so far?
Reddy, how many signups we have now for these 4 tables?
So we had 12. They got 10 of them are actually looks like pretty much concrete demos, 10 of them. But one members team, basically, Steve came back to me and said he would like to actually consolidate with the other existing demos as opposed to having another demo separately. So that's one thing that got reduced. So this boils down to, basically there are 13 line items, rather 12 line items. A couple of them are actually the form factor, just show and tell type of, demos. They probably won't, like memory expansion board, right? They probably won't take up that much space.
Right.
Yeah,
yeah, I need to just make sure that they're not planning to bring the whole server with the demo with the cache lib there.
Yeah,
for the expansion board.
There is a cache lib demo that got submitted by SK Hynix.
Right. But so I don't know whether Nara is online right now or Kiran. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm here, Manoj.
Oh, okay, Nara, yeah, okay. So I don't know whether for the demo for the expansion board, I don't know whether you're planning to take the whole server or just the cards. Yeah, we can take it offline also, by the way, but just I think something.
I mean, like at this moment, we were planning to take the whole server.
So it is the whole server. And does that include the, let me just go back to the, since you brought that up already. So this is the one. Does that actually,
oh, this is SK Hynix.
Does this map to what you have, Nara? Or is it?
This is different.
No, this is different. I think it's row number 4 or 3.
This number 12 is with the memory module.
Yeah.
Number 12 is with memory module. This one is the expansion board.
This is, this one is meta specific. So meta.
Why do you need the server though, unless you're doing a demo? Do you plan to do the demo with the server?
Yeah. So I added like,
the
details in the next column, but we were planning to do a demo.
Okay.
I mean, we can be flexible in that, but yeah.
Oh, no, I wasn't sure. So this is basically a server with the expansion board, and the demo will be cache bench demo.
Yes.
Okay, I see. Okay, I see. Let's go through the list anyway. So that essentially means we probably need to look at. Yeah, let's just go through the list and see what it turns out to be. So do we have Jim or JP?
Yeah, I'm on.
So JP, so this and the line item, I don't know if Andy is there, CXL memory module, smart module. I think which is the other one where we have XCon switch in the demo? And can we consolidate these two? Thought Andy do we have Andy?
Andy last time.
Andy Mills.
So I don't know when Andy is online. We could have a smart modular device working with our switch to demo all these, CXL memory module.
Yeah. So essentially, it seems like we have
later if he's not.
So 9. So JP 9 does 10 also have the XCon switch in H3 platform?
Yes, we did, but we make a real 16 by 16 switch. So I plan to bring the board. It's another board. It's kind of systems, and I'll do set up remotes with 2 servers to connect it to 2 or 4 memory modules to do the software demo. So it's a hardware plus remote software demo.
So the hardware will be 2 servers actually in the experience center located?
No, it's only one switchboard, 6 or switchboard. Where I will only bring one switchboard. There's no power needed. The power needed is only for the screen, because there's some remote site being set it up in Taiwan. Then we have the AMD servers and Intel EMR servers to connect to the switch, and another 4, 6 memory attached to the switch, and then we can do a dynamic location to the 2 different servers of the memory module.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys don't give me these details, I can tell you it's extremely difficult for me to manage this. So I sent you guys a reminder,
Okay.
I mean, you got to be, you guys need to actually enter this detail, otherwise I will have no clue. So the switchboard, what are the dimensions? So the switchboard is just for a show and tell, not really meant for the demo, and you will have a demo remotely. Is that?
Yes, it is. Okay. Yes, it is.
I see. Okay.
So we will connect to the GUI of the memory systems to do the memory allocations, and also log into the servers to see the server get the memory, and it could be access the memory.
And you'll have a laptop then, and you need Wi-Fi connectivity.
Yes. Yes.
Laptop and Wi-Fi connectivity.
So is the switchboard there as essentially a static portion of the demo, and anything else that you're
Yes.
showing is
We just want to show it's real. It's and I use that one to explain how it's being connected. So with the switchboard is static, just the board itself is a PCBA.
And so basically the theme is that you have a CXL switch, working switch, and
Yes.
multiple server vendors are actually brought up the solution, and you're able to demonstrate that. That's really the theme, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What's the actual demo, Brian? If it is
It's
Brian talking, I don't know who's talking.
I can show you the GUI that we currently has built up, and let me share the
No,
screen.
just one line. Yeah, you don't need to, because we have to go through the rest of the demos.
Okay.
Demo
Okay.
line
The
items,
demo
right?
will be we have the GUIs. Then from the GUI you can see the host being connected to which port. I mean, it's 6 or switch port, and then you have the devices being plugged in. Then you can say, hey, I want to the port 10, the memory to cut half as like 64 gig to assign to the host port, like port 2, and then you can see the server on the port 2 will get the memories and can be used. Could be assets.
So memory provisioning part. Okay.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. So if you can send me the dimensions of the switchboard, and you probably need space for laptop, right? That's basically what you're looking for from a space perspective.
Yes, we'll do so.
Okay. Okay. So I'm kind of jumping back and forth primarily because there are 3 different switch related demos, so or maybe even beyond that. And then do we have Don from SK Hynix or Intel team? So this is the cache lib one. So this will be, so we'll end up having 2 cache bench demos, one from Meta that Nara talked about, and yours.
So our demo is pretty much complete, and we have it set up as a web application. I guess I'm not sure what Meta's demo looks like, but yeah.
And do you need the server? Yeah, can you give me the details of what?
Yeah, so we will bring a server with CXL memory device.
And this will be, what server is this? The reference?
PRB.
Archer City?
SK is bringing it.
Yeah, and so it's one server, right?
Yep.
And then you essentially have the SK Hynix device and then do the demo. So there is no Meta in this one. I just want, is that correct?
No.
Okay.
This is our Intel's multi-tier cache lib and SK Hynix software.
Yeah, so I think that's the difference. If somebody wanted to, I think that there are 2 different types of cache lib implementation. You can correct me, Dongok, if I'm correct. The cache lib implementation that Nara will demonstrate for Meta would be kernel-based implementation. This will be user space implementation. Is that correct, Dongok? Or is it a kernel-based itself for?
So like OS level control, that's like what we implemented. We call it HMSDK, Heterogeneous Memory Software Development Kit. So we're not using Meta's OS control.
Correct. Okay. So it is not TPP basically.
No, it's not.
Okay. So so Reddy, that's the difference between these two.
So there is a tiering with the native tiering demo, and is there also OS tiering demo in this one?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Okay.
But the OS in our demo is with HMSDK, not with TPP.
Correct. Right. Exactly. That's basically the HMDK SDK. Okay. Is there a DSA element in this one too, Daniel? Is there a DSA demo?
We could plan on it. We did not submit this in the original, but we could have a DSA configuration.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to worry about the submission part. I mean, if it is ready, you can show it. So this is basically one server. Do you remember the power requirements for the Archer City? So basically what Foundation is looking for is, looks like there is a 10 amp, 120 volt single phase or 20 amp, 208 volt three phase.
Right. I think the reference on SPR is 1300 watts. This would give us 1200 watts. We will check with our lab tech to see, if there's instability at 1200 watts.
And the power, what's the amp? A bit fuzzy on if you can just get that detail.
Yep, of course.
Requirements. Okay, so we have one server here, and then let me finish the. I'm sorry, I know it's actually like more like a working session because of the sense of urgency. We have to close this. Meta CXL expansion board demo. So Nara, this one will be one server, right? And
yeah, it will be one
what
server.
is the connecting power requirements on this one?
I'll get back on that. It should be less than a kilowatt. Yeah, it should comply easily with the requirements for sure. But I'll come back with the specifics.
Yeah, I think it does seem like based on what they mentioned, I have to basically give them per table what's the power input.
Okay.
One of these two looks like so. Okay, so you do have the power. So Jim, what's the disposition on the this demo? Do you still plan to have the separate demo, or looks like MemVerge is actually consolidating with this demo, if I understood correctly. Right?
Really, are you asking me? This is
yeah,
JP.
JP, sorry. So JP is the and
Number
Andy.
one.
Do we have an opportunity to consolidate these two, or are they are still distinct?
I have to talk to Andy since Andy is not online.
He's not here. Okay. Would you mind actually connecting with Andy and let me know if it's going to be separate demos or it's still going to be the same, right?
Yeah.
So from the hardware perspective, you are looking at one server and one switch.
This one, yeah, we're trying to do the memory pooling, multiple hosts. It can be 2 servers. So in this case, I'm not sure, the space requirement. I have to ask our guys.
Yeah, that may be a challenge, but 2 servers means you essentially take up one table.
We could bring a rack, either a half rack. I guess
yeah,
full rack would be too much.
I was thinking about that today morning, JP. So they don't have a space for rack, but I will double check with Kelly on this one.
Yeah, so if we can bring in a rack, that will save a lot of horizontal space, right? Vertically, we can consolidate.
Yeah, so essentially you are looking at 2 servers. Okay, that's and then you're going to close with Steve to see if they can. Okay.
You mean Andy?
Sorry.
It's okay. We're already in with JP, so that's good.
Yeah. Okay, so I think the Samsung one, Mary, are you there?
Yes. Hello.
So you're looking for a server, right? One.
Yeah, but I think so. Going back and forth, we can bring our own Ultra City, so SPR machine.
So
We
it's going to be
can.
one. Okay,
Yes.
one SPR AC server.
Mm-hmm. Then the
Okay.
CXL SSD module.
Will be on that anyway. We'll use the same
Yes.
space. Okay.
Correct.
Any other space requirements?
No. Besides the monitor, all good.
And then you will be doing the live demo, right?
Correct. Interactive live, right?
Okay. Yeah, I know you sent me the note. Pecan?
Yes,
Are you there?
yes, I'm there.
Yeah, which server is that, Pecan? I know you mentioned it is a server.
Yes, this is a Supermicro 2U server. So if we have space for the rack, then we can put it in the rack.
No, that rack is only for XCon. They are bringing their own rack. That's what JP was talking about, not for everybody to host it in that rack. Well, you did enter the details. 1 to your rack servers. Do you know the dimensions by any chance?
Yes, I do have. Give me a minute.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we can actually host. If you were to pair up with another demo, can we host 2 demos on the same table?
Yes, the width-wise, it is 17.2 inches, and the height is standard 2U. The depth is 29.9. So 17.2 by 29.9. You can assume that in inches.
29.9, did you say?
Yes, the depth.
Okay.
And if we do not have monitors, we can definitely bring the monitors on our own monitors and every other hardware piece.
And you need 2 monitors to do the demo? Can you settle with one? I'm just trying to reduce the space requirements, that's all.
Yes, definitely. We can settle for one. There's no problem with that.
Okay. Yeah, because the space will be a challenge, right? Okay.
Yes.
Do we have Priya from Astera or Ahmad?
Yes, I'm here. Hello, everyone. Okay, so our hardware will likely end up going with an Archer City.
Okay.
I indicated the other you can copy some of the details in the cell to the right there as well.
You have it. Okay, standard server with 1 monitor. Will you be able to bring your own monitor, Ahmad?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll merge it. Yeah, I can bring monitor. Okay. Awesome. Then we have server plus.
Just wanted to add a couple more details as well, if you're interested.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. One of the key things we're trying to do, really tied to CMS, is I think a lot of the work that needs to happen in CMS, and like we've been talking about, is what are the metrics, what are the benchmarks that we're going. So that's our key focus, is to actually show those benchmarks, and so that we could then show kind of the community the work that we're doing there. So that's going to be a big focus there. We're going to be trying to push on showing the CXL 2.0 RAS, as well as a lot of the software and management pieces that will be important for CMS as well.
Mm-hmm. Super.
Trying to do a big holistic view of tying to a bunch of pieces of the CMS spec.
Yeah, I think this also ties in very well with the demo, the actual technical sessions as well. That will be good.
Yeah, we actually have 2 presentations that were approved for, one in the CMS server track and one in the special focus AI track where we're going to be also touching on these as well.
Right. Awesome. We have Vishal from Micron or
Yes,
Brad.
I'm here.
Okay, Vishal.
Yeah, Brad.
So you have one server plus cards.
So we plan to do twofold, right? One is the pre-recorded one that will demonstrate capacity as well as the bandwidth expansion using three different kind of workloads, right? One is a data analytics, one is an HPC, and one is a machine learning workload. And it's not confirmed, but we may try to demonstrate the benefit of the software, page level software interleaving using one of the, M&M patch, right? That is not yet upstream, but, we can build it locally and try to show the benefit of the page level software interleaving for the bandwidth expansion use case. But that will be the pre-recorded one. And we do.
So you said three workloads, Vishal. What? So you said AI,
analytics, machine learning, and an HPC.
Okay, analytics.
Right. And two of them will be using CXL memory in the tiered mode, so we'll be showing a capacity expansion benefit, and one of them will be using CXL into a software interleave mode, which will show the bandwidth expansion of the CXL.
Yeah.
So that will be
remote demo with a laptop that you're going to bring in, right?
Yeah, no, it will be just a video, right? A pre-recorded demo with a video.
Pre-recorded. Okay, so this is pre-recorded. Okay.
And then there will be a proof of life with. Well, we need to get a permission, right? But we plan to do a proof of life with Granite Rapids.
Okay, so
right, where the device will be
live.
Right? Yes, and that will be the live
one
demo.
server. Okay, so this will be one server.
Yes.
One GNR server.
And yeah, and if there is a space crunch, we can remove the proof of life from our demo, right? So we don't need to do the server part.
Okay.
But as of today, right, we will have one server, standard 110 volt, 10 ampere is good enough. And we will have two screens, right? So one screen will be playing the recorded one, and one screen will be for the proof of life.
Okay.
And we can bring screen if needed.
Okay, you can bring your own monitors, two monitors. Okay. We don't have Andy.
And the pre-recorded demo, by the way, it's been done in partnership with AMD. So we will
let me add the
AMD
Micron, AMD, Intel. Who else we have here?
That's it. I mean, Intel.
So the three companies. If it is GNR.
So Intel, the proof of life, GNR, I mean, it's not been done in partnership with Intel, but we will get permission from Intel to bring the machine over there.
Right.
The workload demonstration has been done in partnership with AMD, so AMD name will be displayed over there.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So then I will take out Intel then.
Yeah.
So, okay. So the cachely we already talked. Chris,
actually, one
there?
sorry, I just wanted to make sure we plan to bring our own 40-inch monitor for the cache demo. Would that be okay, or would we need to focus on something smaller for this one? Yeah.
For the cache lib one?
Yeah.
What's the monitor size?
So we were thinking about 40-inch monitor.
40, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I will double check, and I'm not really sure. I mean, if you have an Archer server, technically, I mean, if you can actually have a closed chassis, then you can put it on top of the server, right? You don't have to take up extra space. And I have seen that.
So we wanted to have some of the CXL cards.
But you want to show the cards.
Yeah, yeah. It would be.
Right. That's fair. Okay.
Yeah.
So 40-inch monitor. Okay. Oh, bye.
Okay. Thank you.
Chris? Chris, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. I know you sent out the email as well. So you need two half-fit servers, equal to a standard to a 21-inch standard server.
And really, it's one demo, but there's two pieces to it. So the first one is just the mechanical system demo, highlighting all the different use cases for external PCIe cabling. So there's some memory modules, retimer cards, NICs, etc. So it's what we call it a sandbox. And then the second piece is a live functioning PCIe Gen 6 demo with an external PCIe cable. So it's TE, Molex, and Marvell all together. And we had it shown at another show in the past, and we needed a 2 foot by 3 foot space for both parts of the demo.
So it is 3 feet, 3 by 3 feet. Per
yeah,
server?
2 foot by 3 foot.
2 by 3 per server.
Total. No, total,
total.
for both line 13 and 14.
Okay. And does that include the monitor too, or do you need separate space for the monitor?
That includes the monitor.
Oh, that's pretty efficient. And what's the server that you are demonstrating?
So the server itself, there's two mechanical boxes. I have some views that I can share with the group, but it's basically compute, memory, storage, and all the different device cards, add-in cards, OCP NIC. So it's meant for everybody to see different use cases and the connectivity involved with enabling all those devices.
Okay, I see. So we don't have Alan, right? I think this was when we had the tech summit, we talked about doing the show and tell demo for the HPCM module. Do we have Alan online? So Manoj, we have basically 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 demos.
Okay, so that works with the 4 tables. We are slightly over.
Yeah, slightly over. I will see if I can actually get one more table, see if I can twist OCP Foundation.
I mean, it's a good problem, but it's just a problem.
It's a good problem to have. Yeah, I mean, I really don't want to drop any one of these demos. They are all compelling in its own way. So, okay, I'll work through the logistics.
I think maybe just as a thought, maybe Reddy, then I don't know how we're going to, we need to get something out before the OCP to let these themes come out properly of our Experience Center, right? There are a lot of good themes in these demos.
Yeah, need to group, maybe, yeah, Manoj, you and me, let's work on the themes.
Let's work on that.
Demo owners, I will set up probably meeting on Tuesday at 9 o'clock. It's very difficult to coordinate and finalize the time. If you can actually make that, and I will invite Kelly as well, then we'll go through one final round of, space and everything else that Kelly wants to know. And then we'll, basically finalize that. But before that, I need to actually touch base with the OCP team to see if we can get at least one more table to accommodate all the demos. Okay, thanks for the feedback.
Awesome. Looks like we have a good plan there. Should we move to the next agenda item then?
Yes. Do we have?
That I don't see Michael. Let's see, unless I'm missing somewhere.
Do we have Rob?
Yeah, Rob's here.
Hi, Rob.
Oh, okay, Rob is going to drop out. Okay.
Yeah. Do you have a presentation material or verbal that you want to? So basically, Rob, what we want to know is, for the benefit of the rest of the team, the actual process that we need to follow to do the contributions for the CMS specs. Currently, we have at least 3 or 4 that are actually work in progress, but we want to speed up the completion of that in time for the OCP Global Summit. I know there is sizable amount of process in front of us, so if you can shed some light and provide those details, that will help the team.
Yeah, let me see if I can, if you give me privileges to share my screen, really I'll just take you to the OCP website, which outlines the process, and then all the information that anybody here would need who's in the middle of the contribution process can access. So as you give me
Yeah, if
privileges.
you can just take over. It is the stop. Okay.
Okay, I just gave permission to Rob.
Okay, I see a pinwheel, so I'm waiting on the pinwheel. Okay, here we go. Share the screen. Okay, so if you came in here to the contribution process, you go over here to contributions and how to contribute, no matter where you are in the process. Maybe you're mid-process and you've already started and you've been working in workstream on a contribution, but if you're on this call and you've never contributed, I highly recommend the OCP contribution process video right here. And we'll skip watching an ad here, but I'll jump back to the previous screen. It's a quick little rundown of how the process works. First things first, when you're working on a piece of work with either by yourself in a work stream, with your own company or with other companies, we need you to sign a contribution license agreement. So make sure that's in place before we move to any further steps. And the contribution license agreement can be found here in this second group for single party contribution agreements. You can click it here and get a copy of it, or you can click this over here and you'll actually sign it in the window, and then Michael or myself will get access to it in a database so we can reference it later in the process. You'll work in this group, make sure that it's presented, you've got feedback from within your community, and that's across the OCP ecosystem. And then the specification needs to be in an OCP specification template. If you're already familiar with the contribution process, this is an area that's recently changed. It was announced at last year's Global Summit that in addition to the monolithic specification template that's always existed, though it has some minor updates to it, we've added base design and product specification templates as an alternative if you wanted to work in a more layered approach. If you have more questions on that, feel free to reach out to me, but there's also a video online around the new specification templates and why you would want to use one or the other. After it's in the template and you've addressed any feedback within your own project, the project leads, along with the IT representative, will make a recommendation for you to present to the OCP steering committee. For everybody's awareness, the incubation committee naming has changed to steering committee. So the IT is now the SC, the steering committee. And so the steering committee, because of the time coming up on Global Summit, we've added some ad hoc meetings. Typically they're monthly, but they are pre-scheduled meetings, and I would need to get you on the agenda. So the next one coming up is September 21st. So if you have any contributions that are mid-process that need to get on there, that will be one opportunity to get something accepted before Global Summit. The very last opportunity would be the first week of October. If we don't have a presentation before the first week of October, it would not be possible to publish a specification ahead of Global Summit. So I would need to have, and I would recommend either reaching out to me or project leads via email, copy me on it. I'll share it in the chat, my email here in the chat. We need to get you scheduled for those presentations if it's going to be part of your Global Summit activities.
So Rob, let's say if we are doing the white paper, do we have to go through the same thing, or is there a different flow?
Great question. So
solution guides, white papers.
Yes, so we've updated the process. Today, the incubation committee, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to break the habit here too. The steering committee presentations are for specifications only. So non-specification, so that's white papers, guideline documents, videos, case studies, they will get presented to the steering committee via email. They will not have to be a live presentation with a review period and voting period like specifications will. We will review it as a foundation. The project leads will recommend it for publication. The steering committee chair that's responsible for the area within the Open Compute project will review it as well. We'll open it for about a 2-week period for any comment or objection. If there are no objections or comments on the document, it'll move to publication. So even if it was a non-specification,
so that will take at least a week then from a notification. You have a white paper ready, review with whoever is the contributors plus the community, and then that goes to the steering committee. Doesn't have to be presented, but they will take a look at it. And the typical turnaround time is a week for them to say, nope, I don't have issues, you're good to go. Or
yes.
Okay. So what constitutes a spec versus a white paper? And this is a big dilemma that we have, especially in the CMS group. We are writing the architecture document. We have the form factor document, and we have a requirements document that we want to feed it into the CXL consortium. Which ones are actually considered as spec versus just the,
Yeah, we classify, and we can always lean on Bijan Norwuzi, our CTO, on any detail clarifying. But my understanding as the program manager is that if a specification usually results in continuing work that directly reference that document. So if that specification is a base specification, design, or product specification, those specifications are represented or are referenced in additional specifications or in the creation of a product. If a product is not typically, kind of a gut rule, is if a product is not directly associated with that document in a certain form factor or requirements, then it's a non-specification document. So it's usually an information-based document.
So that's predominantly a product, meaning hardware?
Yes.
Rob, or, I see.
So I think this is an important discussion for us also, because specification also has the connotations for CLA assumed there, right,
Yes.
Rob? That it at which, so once, so I think maybe we can mull on this a little bit more. What we have been doing so far is really to provide recommendation guidelines rather than specification for most of the things, because standards bodies is where we are going to make recommendation for them to define standards. Like for example, hotness tracking, that would go to CXL as a recommendation from us. So it's not a specification. So we may have to start maybe already. I think we need to have that discussion about us because something that is already publicly discussed and is already part of the document. CLA is a tougher process to go through, is my just noob understanding right now.
That's accurate. So if a guidelines document or a best practices document, something along those lines, those are typically published under a Creative Commons license. And the Creative Commons license isn't as restrictive or onerous as a CLA process. So if it can fit under Creative Commons and it's not IP, another key indication is if you think you're sharing IP, it may more likely be a specification. If it's not necessarily IP and it's an information or guidelines document and it can be published under Creative Commons, then it won't go through our specification process, but can still be published within our database.
I see.
Okay. So I think, Reddy, we need to consider different sections in our recommendation document, whether they can be a separate white papers individually, some of them, and they can be brought together as a recommendation, system architecture recommendation document as another separate white paper. Maybe we can put that idea together and run it by Rob and see whether that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I'm worried about taking up the already discussed content under CLA may become very tricky. But I think, okay, so I think this is good though, right? I mean, this white paper though, we have a potential opportunity to have a few white papers for the work that is already going under that process right now to hit the timeline before the global OCP. It's tight timeline, but still it's doable.
Yeah, so if we're looking at white paper, scroll down a little bit further in the how to contribute page. And if you move a little bit further down here into documents, this is the area, there's templates available. The Creative Commons license agreement would be here. And we're happy to help with uploading it to the portal and going through the review process. Yeah, don't be afraid of it. You're concerned. It's not perfect. I don't have it in the right format. I don't know what to do. I need to do a couple more things before we can get it ready. Reach out to me ahead of time. Save the missteps. We're happy to help work through the logistics and any of the barriers around the process, so that your work can come through. And so, I'd rather know early and help you do any, prevent any rework than have it get to the end, especially if you have goals around publishing something before Global Summit. I'd hate to send something back that requires 2 weeks of review or something along those lines that limit us from publishing. So, I shared my email in the chat. Please feel free to reach out to me.
Perfect. Awesome. Any question for Rob? This is a good discussion. I think that gives us some path, but also it gives us a lot of responsibility for enough content to be finalized in next few weeks. I know we have raw material, but we want to make sure that we can get it into the shape that is appropriate.
Yeah, get it into the templates that are available. If you're unsure of which template to use, please let me know. We're definitely happy. The greatest success with the highest quality contributions I've seen is when you get that shared within your own community. You are the experts in this. The steering committee, or the formerly known as the incubation committee, wants visibility, wants to see how this interacts with the other areas of the OCP, but and make sure that licensing and tenants and those things are being met. But really, the quality of the work is, bounce it off each other, get some feedback, get it out in the open, before bringing it, and then we'll have success, and the process will be much easier.
Awesome, makes sense. All right, thanks, Rob. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Rob.
Anytime you need to come back, just say so. Happy to go through it again.
Awesome. We have like 7 minutes ready. Do you want to take
Let's quickly go through the spec update and where things are. Do we have Vikrant? Okay. Vikrant,
I'm here.
Anything on the logical architecture side of the document? I pretty much updated whatever I had to update like 3 weeks ago. Is there any, I know you were doing the pooling. Do we have anything pending on that side? I haven't actually followed up with you before, so sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah, no problem. Actually, I did want to connect with you, and I've lost some of these slides that I believe were being converted as part of the submission. So high level, I did talk to a couple of folks within the team, and their response was like, if we had to use this solution using Kubernetes, it has to use standard memory semantics at the container spec level. So calling out the memory attribute that is pooled is going to require some major changes within the scheduler as well as our container placement algorithm system. So that was a feedback. If it shows up as a NUMA domain underneath, that's how they would consume the pooled memory. It would just appear as a remote NUMA domain within the container spec.
So this is at the so when you say the changes that you're talking about, the Kubernetes kube scheduler and all those changes that you're
right. So it should just be able to consume that memory as a remote NUMA domain. And so I was wondering whether we could get some information on the Linux memory management changes as it relates to the pooled memory.
Yeah, I see. So basic foundation is that you essentially have tiers of memory on the bare metal server, and whatever you do beyond that is essentially transparent to the containers, then doesn't matter, right? But if you really want a deeper way of controlling, then you probably have to take a slice and then expose it to the container directly.
Yeah, and that was the second option we discussed, which is to leverage some of the storage appliance work that was done to expose the storage devices as a to the master Kubernetes master or the API server, and that does the as you said, the attachment or the allocation of the storage devices to the particular Kubernetes host, which I think also fits nicely within the pooled memory appliance semantics, that we have memory slices that could be allocated and provisioned by the Kubernetes master as soon as it sees that there is a requirement for additional memory for the pod spec.
I see. So basically the CXL, the logical device or the physical device just allocated to the container.
On demand, yeah, exactly. Based on the
on demand.
Based on the memory that is required by the pod when the Kubernetes master receives the pod spec.
Okay, so it's a device binding as opposed to the memory on the bare metal.
It will be a hot plug of memory.
Hot plug of memory to the container.
Yeah.
Okay. So we basically, your input is that we should include those different deployment options and make sure it covers, and then it's based on the Uber discussion that you had internally.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you can maybe find that slide deck where I put the comments, that'd be great. I'll maybe schedule something with you.
And then update it. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think once we are done, I think we'll be done, Manoj. So we'll target, for sure next week we'll complete those, the fine tuning of the pooling side of the section.
That will be good. I was just going through the end user requirements, use case perspective and a benchmark. Looks like we have very good. We are good there. I think there are some more areas in the benchmarks to be added. So I'll work with Nara and Sergey. I don't know whether he's online right now.
Manoj, like actually I have completed the table format. If we had chance, we could review it.
Oh, table format, yeah. I saw that actually, yeah.
No, actually that is like just half completed, but I couldn't fit it, so I had created another spreadsheet. If you can add it, I couldn't add it to the Google folder. I did not have.
I see.
I can.
Okay. So if you can drop a comment on the document itself, then I'll add it there.
Sure. Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay. And then there is a hardware configuration if you wanted to put a DUT hardware configuration there, and BIOS support if you need to. If these sections are too much, then we can remove it.
Yeah, I'll sync up with you offline. I had some questions on the.
Okay. Okay, sounds good. So I think once then there is only TPP and application managed tiering. This is where I think we still need more details. I can add TPP, or maybe we can see if SK Hynix wanted to add anything from their side for the kernel based tiering. We can use that there. So that's the only thing that I have right now that we can add, and will be ready for the end user requirement section.
Manoj, I had a benchmark section that I've done in the past. I don't know what document.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for, but I'll put this. Let me just put the document link here. That way actually anybody can access it. And then Vikrant, if you didn't find it, let me know.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't see your benchmark there. So we want to get it there, but we need to get virtualization use case also in there. Looks like I don't have that. So this one has only caching and AI inference use case. Virtualization is actually grayed out in that document if you see. So if you can populate it back from what you had done before, and then we can add a benchmark also. I know we are just over time. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, I think, but if you see the document there, you can see it, Vikrant. There is a 2.1.2 virtualization section. It's basically grayed out. You need to get your virtualization content in there.
I thought we had it somewhere in a different version of the document. Yeah, I'll find it.
Yeah, I know I have it there. I think I can look it up and start pulling it over, or it's in the system architecture main document that we had created.
Right.
So we need to pull it from here into this section.
Yeah. And I had a meeting with Kapil from Samsung yesterday. I don't think he's on the call right now. So we have an opportunity to also run that benchmark on one of the Samsung devices to.
That would be awesome. So if we
Yeah.
can you take a look at it, see if you can, I'll look for that content also, but if you can find it, can you just populate it in this document?
Yeah.
And the benchmark also in that case then.
Yep.
Which
and
benchmark
then,
is that, Vikrant?
just
what? Which one is that, Vikrant? Benchmark, you said?
So this is a benchmark that we run at Uber to using Spec CPU components to figure out the sort of the backendness of the workload or frontendness, so cache bound versus memory bound, and use some of the metrics that are emitted to figure out the impact of memory.
Got it. Okay.
So this will be perfect. Only thing then, once we get this done next week, I think Reddy will have to figure out to make them standalone white papers. We have to change the references and the naming and all the, then it's some upfront, how to say, verbiage for standalone white paper. So we'll have to figure out something, but I think this may be a way to go to make it separate white papers to start with, and then bring it together as a single recommendation document.
Yeah, requirements and then workloads and then high-level architecture and form factors. Yeah.
Okay.
And then Samir, are you also, sorry, just quick. I don't know if Samir is planning to put the Microsoft virtualization workflow within the same spec, or that's not, because it's Microsoft specific, we are not putting that.
Yeah. Samir, you there? Or that's, I know I have, Samir, you there, right?
Yes, I'm here, Manoj.
So the document that I put out also did not pull in the virtualization section completely. So that has Microsoft as well as Uber's contribution on virtualization. So we have two ways we can do it right now. Just carry forward what we have from what you had contributed before, I think, Samir. And
yeah,
not have anything in the benchmark, because
we can talk offline, Manoj. I'm open, but
okay.
Based on whatever we contributed, we can look into that.
Okay. All right. Then I think Vikrant, if you get the virtualization in the previous document we have, along with Microsoft, let's pull it over, and the benchmark also that Uber had contributed. So
yeah,
let's discuss it again next week before next week, of course.
Okay, I'll do that.
All right. Hey, thanks, guys. I know
Thank you.
A lot of stuff to be discussed today. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Bye.
Guru. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.